minute or two to catch up on YouTube. I'm not actually sure. So,
yeah, the other day when you were doing YouTube, Rick, you had about maybe like a 2-minute lag from what you were saying on StreamYard to it transferring over to YouTube.
yes, yes.
I see you're live.
Yes, I went live as you ran off, but that's okay. Snub's wife's in the house. How you doing? Right. We're live on YouTube, so we're live here, and I'm broadcasting over on gun channels as well. I don't know how well that's going to work, but you know, the link to join in on the panels over on gun channels. So anyway, welcome live from the crossroads of America. Talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind or our minds as I have a panel. Answer questions from the audience either in the chat or by email at Rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. You're better off doing it in the chat because I don't always check my mail in time. Also, I have a Patreon page. You can see the thing down the bottom here of the screen. And I believe it's down below on YouTube in the thing. Well, it will be anyway later on, but it's all there. You can even do a one-time payment through PayPal as well. So there you go. As I said, the show is broadcasting here and on gun channels, I believe. And I don't know where else. But, you know, there we go. Also, if you would like, there was something I was going to mention here. Always forget it at the end, so I'm going to do it at the beginning here. If you like what you see, give me the thumbs up. And subscribe if you're not a subscriber and all that good stuff. And, you know, it all helps with the analytics and helps with YouTube and everything else. So, we got who we got. The first one in the room tonight was gun websites. Then Snob's wife, 2 Live Mood, Jason Stewart, Raphael, Wheelchair Warrior is in there. That's great. Right. So far on my panel, I have, let me introduce them. I got Blind Shooter out of New York City.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
All right. Then we got from Houston, Texas, Sean Ponnery.
Welcome from the land of the armpit of the Gulf of Mexico.
That's it. All right. Good. Okay. My topic, I can't remember what I put on there now. I got to go back and read it. Same about NRA, Trump, and whatever else is going on. But I know I saw it this morning, what I wanted to talk about. Maybe you guys have more insight than I have. I think Raphael out in the chat should have some info on this. Is that Stand Your Ground case. He got found guilty of manslaughter.
Yes, he did.
You know? Should he have or shouldn't he have? I mean, I look at the video. The guy did push him down. I mean, he was pushed down violently. But then again, he was turning away when he was shot. But in the what's the word I'm looking for? Not excitement, but in
heat of the moment.
What?
In the heat of the moment.
Yeah. You're going for your gun and all this, you know, could he have stopped? I mean, could he have stopped or I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Why did he let the guy get that close to him before he drew his weapon? See, the thing is what convicted him or what convinced a jury of his peers to find him guilty of manslaughter was the surveillance footage. If you had someone approaching you at a very high rate of speed, your gun should have been drawn already, and you should already try to talk him down to de-escalate the situation. He didn't do that. He got shoved to the ground first, and then he shot the guy in the back.
Yes. So, I mean...
That's what damned him.
Yes. But we said it in the heat of the moment, would you have done anything different?
Yeah. I would have drew down on him probably when he was within 20 feet of me.
Well, yeah, I mean, like we were discussing was it Wednesday night or whatever? if that guy, I saw him come out the door and he's yelling at me, right? Because I know he'd be yelling at me because I've been yelling at his wife, but I wouldn't have done that in the first place. I am not the, handicap parking superintendent.
Well, that's what I want to know.
You know?
Was he actually handicapped? Was he the one that needed the space, or was he just trying to virtue signal to somebody else, provoking this whole thing in the first place? If you're a perfectly healthy guy and you see it happen, yeah, it might piss you off, but is that a fight really worth having?
Well, see, I think that's what it was. I don't believe he wanted the spot. He just thought it was wrong that she
social
pulled up there for
justice
him to run
warrior.
into the store.
Yeah.
There's
when you get a license to carry and you are granted the ability to have the ultimate responsibility for your own self-protection or the ability to take someone's life, you are supposed to take on a new mindset of picking and choosing your battles much more carefully and prudently. And I don't think he did that.
Yeah. Did you read that? I just put down in Florida, it said there was more stuff came out that he aggressively was yelling at the guy, and the jury took that into consideration when they did their ruling. I don't know. It's
manslaughter is the lower charge. It is the lesser charge, but it's still a charge regardless.
Raphael says he thinks the guy also had a past of being a parking lot nut. And as David said, he wasn't handicapped.
Right.
No, he was just being an overzealous handicap parking superintendent, But back to my original question. Yes, I think if I saw the guy coming at me, he's coming at that fast, I was saying, could I have got my gun out in time? But I would have at least made the attempt. Even sort of like going for it could have slowed the other guy up. He could have slid his brakes on and go, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Exactly. I mean, I've seen officers when they're actually talking to somebody else and somebody comes, at a high rate of speed in his direction, he will draw his weapon and point it at that person and go and de-escalate it very quickly. He'll say, "What are you doing? Don't come near me. Do not approach me." And that usually stops it instantly. So this was just a comedy of errors. And I find it really ironic that it's from the same state that gave us George Zimmerman.
Yeah.
Another guy who could have just let bygones be bygones and leave things the hell alone, but decided to take it upon himself to become a hero. And somebody got killed in the process.
Yeah. Now, see, plus when they do these cases, there's stuff that we don't know about. Raphael just put in the chat. Where is it? He threatened another guy in the past.
Right.
See, that was more like that was brought up in the case, and it all goes against you.
White knighting and concealed carry they don't really go hand in hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Here you go. David goes. He had gotten to an argument that almost came to blows 1 month prior at the same location over the same handicap parking spot. So it's not in his favor. See, now at the time when you've seen all this, you don't realize. You just think he got into an argument. The guy pushed him down. He pulled his gun and shot him.
Right.
But now we're seeing other stuff coming up that we didn't know about, and right now, my opinion is changing already.
Right. This is a very good.
I can see why he got found guilty now.
This is a very good segue into something that happened even in my city. This is a case of the court of public opinion already convicting or releasing somebody without getting all the details. We had a botched drug raid in the wrong house in the city of Houston, and 2 people got killed for it, and 5 officers got wounded. 2 of those officers have now been charged with murder. First and foremost, because apparently they can't even read their own damn warrant. But the same situation. I turned on the news one day and they said that there was a heroin drug bust in Southeast Houston, and I'm like, oh, okay. And they kicked down the door, and like the assailants shot back at police officers, so they gunned them down. What was it? What had actually happened is it was a no-knock warrant. It was a quiet neighborhood. It was two people in their late 50s to early 60s. They heard the door get kicked open in a not-so-great neighborhood. Their dog went crazy. The officer shot at the dog. The guy come running out with his gun and shot at the noise. And then he got slaughtered in his own house. That is something that every one of you can relate to. I'm sitting in a room far from my front door, and if I heard the door get blown open, you damn right I'm going to answer it with force.
Oh yeah, I mean I've got a gun sitting right next to me here.
Right, and the stories.
If I heard the door busting, my hand's going on my handgun.
Yeah, the comments in the stories of day one of that story was, "Oh, they got what they deserved," and then throughout the days and weeks, it was they went to the wrong house. The warrant was issued hastily. The officers acted too quickly. And now, yesterday or the day before yesterday, 2 officers involved in this that executed this raid have been charged with murder. Details. They're kind of important.
Yes. Yeah. See, and a lot of times those details are left out. We don't know about them, which is why we shouldn't jump to conclusions.
Which is what we're very good at as a
society. Absolutely. And I'm just as guilty. I must admit. You're very quiet up there in the corner, blind shooter.
Well, I was about to chime in and say what you guys were just talking about with the cops going to the wrong house and the officers getting charged with manslaughter. Coming from law enforcement family, what a lot of people don't realize is when they go to do these no-knock search warrants, the guys that are going through the door first are not the ones that went. They're just the technically, paid for hire guys to go in and execute. The ones that actually got the search warrant are the detectives that are going to go in once the SWAT team clears the house.
This is true.
True. Yeah.
So I don't think they should be charging the cops with manslaughter because the cops are just going based off of what, Joe Blow detective said, hey, go to this house, kick in the door.
Yeah. So there's more to come, I guess.
There is.
There'll be more details. Gun-loving grandpa and unknown user has joined the chat out there on YouTube. So I appreciate seeing you guys as usual. Anyway, let's talk about President Trump. And we can do anything from gun control to him pissing off people over his tariffs. I don't know. I think tariffs can work to our advantage on certain things. Right now he's threatening the French because they're putting a 3% tax on companies worldwide that make something like over $280 million a year out of France or some shit. Which you're looking at like Microsoft, Amazon, those kind of places. So he said he's going to put a 3% tariff on French imported wine. So I don't know. I mean, I can see tariffs working to keep things balanced. Because if it costs $20 to make something in the United States because of the cost of labor and everything else, but you're importing the same item from China, for argument's sake, that sells for $10, everybody's going to buy the $10 one, and the American company going out of business. But if you put tariffs or a tax on that China one to say you bring it up to $15 and the American one's $20, you might say, oh, okay, for the extra $5, I'll buy made in America and keep American people employed. To me, that's where it's good. So, or am I looking at it wrong?
I think you're looking at it right. In most countries. The problem is in China, it's communism wearing the mask of capitalism. Everything, like 99% of the things that happen in China are dishonest. You just got a president who just changed the rules to make himself ruler for life. That should have raised a red flag immediately. But you're sort of right. What it does is it promotes fair play. And the thing is those manufacturers in other countries competing with the United States, they have to have lower labor costs because they still have to deal with logistics, marketing, and delivery. So there's a cost there. Once upon a time, buying American not only meant you're buying manufactured goods from your country, but it was supposed to be cheaper because they didn't have to ship it halfway around the world. But because China devalues their currency, because they practically have sweatshops and slave labor manufacturing, they are able to undercut even just making it domestically. So yeah, tariffs are a balancing factor in a way.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I mean, I tell you what made me question myself. I done the mistake of watching a rant by Never Enough Ammo. It was very liberal. He's becoming more liberal than Yankee Marshall. And he doesn't like tariffs. And I'm thinking, well, is he right and I'm wrong? But no, I'm right in the way I'm looking at it.
I just find it funny how, everyone's talking about the tariff and how, it's affecting the stock markets and, the economy's going to tank and all this bullshit. Does everyone forget that what goes up in life must come down? It doesn't matter if Trump's the president, Nancy so-and-so becomes president. Eventually the stock market's going to fucking crash again.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many tariffs you enact. It's not Trump's fault that the stock market crashes. It's going to happen on its own.
No, the Federal Reserve has more to do with the stock market tanking than he does.
Yeah.
I actually have a unique perspective on this because my boss is Chinese, and a lot of the parts that I get to build the things I build at my shop come from China. So what happens is when these tariffs happen for imports, it does actually affect my bottom line because like the cases I use are manufactured in China and they have to be put together, stamped out of, press brakes and whatnot, welded, painted, then boxed and shipped to the United States. That takes months. On the flip side, not only are they being affected by tariffs, but certain manufacturing cities in that country have very strict emissions regulations now, where I can only have cases made once a year now. And that factory has to tool up for that because that once a year is the only time they get my business. The rest of the year they have to make something else domestically to keep themselves, in business. And the problem with that is certain parts that come only from there are now 25 to 30% more expensive, which I have to reflect in my pricing for what I sell here all over the country every day.
But can you buy that product made over here already?
No. See, that's the really weird thing. There are no manufacturers for cases like there used to be. They're very few and far between now. Most of them are made overseas. But I guess sort of to Blind Shooter's credit, the market will provide eventually. Because what happened is say I use LG or Lite-On or Pioneer optical drives for those duplicator machines you've seen me build. They used to be manufactured in China because that's where the cheap labor was. After this tariff war began, it took a few months, but the market sort of corrected itself because LG and Pioneer and Lite-On decided to move their manufacturing facilities to the Philippines. So now all the drives I get that used to be made in China are manufactured in the Philippines as a way to bypass the tariffs. That's the way that the market corrects itself. It will find a way. It's sort of like Jeff Goldblum saying nature will find a way. It's the same principle. Business will find a way.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, back when the 10-year assault weapons ban was on, gun manufacturers found a way to still sell one, but made it by doing something cosmetic to it, if I remember correctly.
Like the featureless rifles?
Yeah. So I mean, as you said, the market does. But anyway, as Jason Stewart says, recession is racist. Anyway, Mm-hmm. Yeah, You're right. I mean, but talking about it, but back on to Trump still. But I think this is kind of stuff that got him into where he is. We like to think it was the Second Amendment that got him. Don't get me wrong. We helped. We helped get him.
5.5 million votes.
Yes, got it. Helped get him there. But it was stuff like helping the economy and all this kind of stuff is what people voted for. And now on the Second Amendment stuff lately, that's unfortunately New York's own personal red flag law went into effect today, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah. As I was telling the chat during the week, I mean, we've had red flag laws here in Indiana. I didn't know this till I moved here, of course. It's been on the book since 2005. It's being used, but from what research I have found, it hasn't been abused in this state yet. I hate yet.
And like we talked about, like you said earlier this week, one of the reasons why I don't think red flag laws will work, the federal government's trying to create a blanket, uniform set of rules or a code that should be set and then enforced by local municipalities all across the country. They're trying to create like a blanket one, and then they tell all the municipalities, okay, now here's your guidelines, go do this, use this as a baseline. But you and I already discussed this. What works in the small town, like in your area where it hasn't been abused, will never ever work in a big city, because in your area you have just enough law enforcement and you have not enough complaints that they can actually take their time and give it the proper due process that it requires. They can look into things, they can interview neighbors and whatever to find out if the accuser has enough proof to actually act on this. Whereas in New York City, they don't have enough cops. They have 12 million people, and they're going to get 100,000 complaints a day, and they're just not going to have the manpower, the time, or the resources to give due process its due. So what they'll do instead is they will cut corners in the name of streamlining so they can, quote, make sure that all credible threats are seen and addressed every day, which means they'll half-ass it. And a lot of innocent people will get their property illegally seized, which is why we cannot support this. The spirit of the red flag law has merit, but the execution and the details and the process will never, ever work.
Correct. Now, also I was saying with Trump and everything else, I mean, at one time it sounded like he was gun-ho to do universal background checks, red flag laws, and what was the other? There was a third thing. I can't remember what it was now.
An assault weapons ban.
Yes. Now, the last couple of days, it looks like people said, he's spoken to Alan Galbraith from the Second Amendment Foundation. People from Guns of America have spoken to the people in the White House, and they say he even had a 30-minute phone call with Wayne LePew from the NRA. And you hear some of the reports that he's easing off of this. Is he or isn't he? That is the question.
I think he is, because he knows it's political suicide if he does anything.
Well, he'll lose 5.5 million votes. I have a challenge for viewers and us in general, and I may type this out and put it on the main page of Gun Channels in case anyone wants to cut and paste it. But I actually penned a letter to the President of the United States recently, and in it, I described how the Clinton assault weapons ban may have been one of the best things to ever happen to President Trump. And I know that sounds outlandish, but just give me a second here. Bill Clinton put the assault weapons ban out under the premise of, look, let's just try this for 10 years. and we'll check the crime statistics and the murder rates and everything. And if this doesn't work, it'll just sunset in 10 years and everything will be fine. What he didn't realize is that hurt the firearms industry. There were people whose livelihoods got ruined because the things that they create and manufacture was banned and outlawed. So that hurt the economy because it hurt the firearms industry for his social experiment, right?
Yeah.
So when I wrote the president, I pointed this out. And I said, look, this is the greatest thing that could have ever happened to you. Because all you have to do at this point now is say, listen, we have done it your way of take since the 1930s. And statistically, it has done nothing to help crime. It has done nothing to lower the murder rate. It has done nothing. So what I propose that the president do is go the opposite direction. I said, why don't you just go up there one day and say, look, why don't we just try constitutional carry for 10 years? And we'll just do it as a social experiment. And we'll check the crime statistics and the murder rates then. And if the results prove themselves, we'll make it permanent. And if it doesn't, and it gets worse, then you've got nothing to lose because it's only 10 years. It's just like the Clinton assault weapons ban, except it works in our favor. And the only reason I know that it won't work or it won't happen is because the Democrats are scared to death that it will show that an armed society is a polite society and that people will exercise more restraint instead of shooting off the handle because they don't know if the person they're about to mouth off to is carrying. And I guarantee you, every state that's passed constitutional carry has had lower crime rates. So why don't we just make it national policy for 10 years as an experiment? We have the man in office that would have the balls big enough to take that risk, and we should encourage him to do so.
Yeah, they should. So you said you did that letter?
I sent that letter Wednesday.
Okay. All right, so no reply yet.
Not yet. It probably just got there.
Was it an actual letter, not an email?
Yeah. No, I hand wrote it.
Oh, wow. I mean, at least somebody will open it up and read it.
Right. Somebody has to see it. And I sent the exact same letter to my governor as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Talking about that, let's go. I mean, I'm hoping that, as G-Web said, Republicans are wavering under the current attacks. So we need to keep them up, keep talking to, get in contact with our, our people.
Keep them honest to their
our representatives and tell them, no. We got to keep doing that. But also, there was that, I'm trying to think what podcast it was when they were talking to, what's his name from Guns of America? When it was on Guns and Gadgets, when Jared from Guns and Gadgets was talking to, what the hell is that guy's name? The executive president or whatever his name is of Guns of America. And Jared asked him about contacting these people. And he says, believe it or not, he says, the emails work. He said, yes, they might not read each individual one, but they record that they have a block. Like, we got 3,000 emails today. Like when they do their standard letter and we click on it and it automatically sends it.
Mm-hmm.
He says, say like on Thursday, we received 3,000 of these from the members of the GOA. He said that is recorded. So they do notice, they might not read every one, but they do know that there's people interested.
Yeah, they collate the data to keep it simple. So don't give up on doing that. Keep doing that too. Everybody out there, press the button on the GOA call for action. Hell, even do the call for action. Sometimes there's a good one on the NRA too. Very rare, but in some cases they do have one. But they're not the main. Unfortunately, they're not. I was reading an article. Was it yesterday? That the NRA is not going to be a player in 2020.
is that gonna hurt Trump? Or we're the people? We're the 5 million votes, not the NRA. So yeah, I know that OG's saying there needs to be a lot more than 3,000. I agree with you. I'm just saying, I was using that just as a number. I can't remember what figure he used. But if they're getting 100,000 emails every day, from the GOA, it's all go every day is going to be recorded. Look, we got 100,000 on Tuesday. We got another 100,000 on Wednesday. Look, we got another 100,000 on Friday. All those are collected. That's what he was saying, from what my understanding. So, I mean, personally, so that's what we need to do. Oops, I got somebody who wants to come in. Who wants to come in? Madden him to there. Oh, the Patriot in the dark. How you doing, buddy?
Oh man, this thing, I tell you what. How's it going? Is my camera on?
No, you're fine.
No, we got your icon.
You're late, however.
Oh, I know I'm late. I thought he wasn't having a show until next Saturday.
No,
Excuses.
Anyway,
I was.
Anyway, real quick, from what we were just discussing, what I was talking about here, Two Gun Kitty, the catnap outlaw. I did get a response back from one of my senators when I do the Gun Owners of America emails. See, so some people are reading them, and so that's what by all means, write the old-fashioned snail mail as well, if you want to. You know what I'm saying? If you got the time, do it. It all helps. And because we have, but as I said, back to what we're talking about, I was talking about the NRA being a non-starter for 2020. And so we're the so-called 5 million members. I don't think there is 5 million members anymore. But we are the people, the members are still the votes. I mean, the NRA is not the 5 million votes. We are the people. So we still need to, I'm not, we were talking about this yesterday, Sean. When they used to have the one party ticket where you could just check Republican all the way down the line,
7 states, I believe, still have that. Straight ticket voting. In the state of Texas, it's actually being abolished this year, or maybe it's next year. It's 2020's vote, so it's probably this year.
Yeah.
The problem with that is with straight ticket voting takes good people out of office for the wrong reasons. Because people don't actually do their homework on small ticket offices. And so you end up just voting the wrong people in. You may actually agree with your political opponent when it comes to local policy, but you didn't realize you just voted him out.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. That's the thing. If you got somebody who's, for lack of a better word, is ignorant of what's actually going on and just Republican or nothing.
Yes.
That is the problem.
Ignorance is not a dirty word. It just means you don't know what you're involving yourself in.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I know I might get people mad at me here is also when they say, well, I'm not going to vote for Trump for what he's done so far. I'm going to vote for, the independent or a libertarian or whatever, or even write Sean Connery's name on the card.
Like Squib?
Yeah. What you're doing is basically you're giving your vote to the Democrats. As much as I hate to say it, this country is a two-party system. Do I like that? Not necessarily. Is there a way to change it? There is, but trying to do it now between now and 2020 November ain't gonna help us any. It ain't gonna work.
No, it won't work until 2024. But the only way to make it work is to The thing is you can't put a new party into office until you can get enough towns and states to put a new party into local politics to build a base. Once you build that base, then you'll have enough people who support that base in all those small towns and cities who will actually take it to a national level. Because people keep forgetting, yeah, we're a two-party system, but these two parties weren't the original two parties. They're just the ones that are currently around. They will not be here forever. There will be new ones eventually, and maybe there will only be two new ones, but there will be new ones.
Yes, because wasn't the Republican Party didn't start to what, just before Lincoln became president?
Technically, the first party of the United States, I think, was called the Democratic Republicans.
Yeah. But so yeah, I mean, it takes time to change, and people say, well, then the real scary part to me. I was listening to a podcast or show the other night, and they're meant to be all too pro-A. And I was actually almost sick. I had to go. I thought I was going to throw up. I'm going to vote Democrat. We're better off with a Democrat president than the one we got now. At least we know what we got. At least we know what we got. We got to fight against. I thought, how goddamn asinine can you be? You know, that's my personal opinion.
The reasoning behind that.
Well, the thing that 2016 taught me, which is not going to be well received, is that the Libertarian Party of 2016 was diet liberal. I mean, look at who the vice presidential candidate was. So even though there are alternative parties, you have to realize that these alternative parties have been infiltrated by the two main parties. So are they really a third option? But like I said, I mean, the only way to make a third or a new party work is you have to start, much like gun control advocacy, we have to start at a grassroots level. We have to start at local, state politics, maybe county politics. And if you take enough cities, or if you earn enough, seats in states, then you might actually have a chance to build a national platform. It's just everyone rushes straight to the top. They're trying to make kingmakers out of national nobodies. And you can't do that. It never works. The closest thing that we had to a third party that might have worked was the Tea Party. And that was just extreme right conservatism. And before that, it was the Reform Party with Ross Perot. But like you said, Ross Perot's Reform Party was essentially just giving tickets to, or giving your votes to the Democrats, which is how Bill Clinton got elected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he didn't build a local base first. So he had very little support on the national level.
Yeah, I mean, he had Texas support, but that was about it, really. So anyway, there we go. What did NEA say? Oh, is he talking about what I just stated about voting Democrat? They all said that. I said, we'd rather vote Democrat. At least we know what we're fighting. And it'd be better off. I tell you what. Yes, okay.
Well,
so you vote
everybody
Democrat.
that fight.
So you vote Democrat, you get a Democratic president.
Yeah.
Right? All right. Hopefully, say the Senate stays Republican. So anything that the House does, which is anti-gun, the Republicans just sit on it, don't let it get to the floor. You say, okay, see, we fought, we done. But what's her name? Harris?
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, what'd she say? Executive order? All right. Assault weapons ban. Boom, it's done.
I know. Okay.
All you do is take it to court, like they take Trump to court.
You're leading into something you and I talked about earlier this week. and this is good. This is a good topic. There are people out there, namely what you just referred to from a previous podcast on another show, that said that they would rather vote for a Democrat than re-elect Trump. And the reason that they say that is because if you put a Democrat into the White House, it will motivate your base to stymie and cut the Achilles heel of that guy off so they're powerless. So what they're actually saying is that rather than trying to put people into power that will work for you, put somebody in there that you can just stymie so you don't move forward or backward. And that's just as bad as moving backwards. Let's just not do anything and waste our entire lives sitting still. That's what they're saying. They're promoting stagnancy. And that's stupid.
Yeah.
We have a system. We have one of the greatest governmental systems in the world. Otherwise, other countries wouldn't emulate it. Where if you don't like the way things are, get off your ass and fix it. Put the things or the people you want that represent you to work for you. And we just don't do it because there's not enough of us who think this way who can get those people in there. Or at least we think there isn't enough of us. Maybe it's just the media is not covering us enough because they're of the opposition that we can't organize ourselves in large enough numbers to put those people in there. We did in Texas, sort of. I mean, he had a screw up, but he's learning. He's new. He's got freshman optimism, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, I think it's because I understand what you're saying and what you said. That's what I was trying to explain. But that's also if there's a lot of ifs in that by putting this Democrat president in there. That's if the Senate stays Republican, or say we lose the Senate but get the House back, so the House won't be writing any anti-gun bills. You know what I'm saying? The Republicans got to stay in charge of the House or the Senate, either one, to stymie it. But say we lost all of them, and you had a Democrat House, a Democrat Senate, and a Democrat president.
Yeah,
you are true. You just fucked yourself in the ass.
Well, the only way that you can fight then is circuit courts.
Yeah.
So right now, the left has the Ninth Circuit constantly stymieing the president. If you ended up with a Democratic-controlled House, Senate, and White House, that's all you've got. And it would have to be fought all the way to the Supreme Court, which thankfully is 5-4 right now, sort of in our favor, but that could be wishy-washy too.
Really 5-4 though?
Okay,
That's up for debate, I guess.
Chat, Two Gun Kitty said I voted Perot, and he goes, I live in Massachusetts most of my life, so really, did my vote ever count?
Probably not.
No.
Electoral college-wise, no.
No.
You're just in blue hell. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the same. That was the same with me when I lived in Rhode Island. But I mentioned this back in November of 2016. Yes, the Democrats won that state hands down. But the red vote, the Republican Party vote, had gained, I think it was 10 or 12% points. You know, if you look at the number of voters. So on that level, it's changing. So you can't just give up.
Of course not. I mean, I'll give you the perfect example of the opposite of that. There are rumblings across the nation that my state of Texas bleeds a very dangerous shade of purple, right?
Oh yeah.
We are historically a red state. We have a lot of rural and farmland. We have a lot of not so big city areas, and that's why we're a predominantly red state. So if you're in Massachusetts, the way that you flip your state to a dangerous shade of purple is exactly how the Democrats have made the state of Texas bleed a shade of purple. What they did is exactly like I said about the third party. they have taken offices in counties and cities, and then those cities become blue cities. And if you get enough of those blue cities, that flips the state. See, they did it right. We just want instant results. But if we actually went to like Massachusetts and started flipping city government red, then that state would start to bleed a curious shade of purple. And then you have a good chance of turning it red or turning it whatever color you want it to be, especially because your state is substantially smaller than Texas. Your state would be easier to do that too if you can get enough influential people to see it your way in city government and county government. You know, we used to discount city and county governments as irrelevant. But if you think about it, that's how it all starts.
Yeah, you're right. It is. I mean, as G Webb says, Patrick says your vote always counts. Don't think it doesn't. G Webb says all votes count. And
It is true.
The opposite. They love it when we tell ourselves all is lost, no hope, no need to vote.
Right. Every war started with one bullet. Every war ends with one bullet. Every election starts and ends with one vote. It's just how effective is your vote? Are you throwing away your vote because you're the only one fighting the tide? Or do you have other people who fight the tide with you to build a big enough base in your area to flip the tide? It's exactly what that is.
Yep, you're right. Hey, Night Strike, could you join us?
Yeah, I have a question for Sean.
Okay, throw it.
Sean, how do we get our state to turn as colorful as Obnoxious One's new upper?
Well,
you know the one I'm talking about, the Fruity Loop upper.
yes, and he needs to actually do the lower too.
Yeah, he does. But I like the orange magazine. That's pretty good.
I think I'm going to need that upper.
Me too.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry. I just had to throw some humor in here because you guys are getting too serious. And you know what happens when you get too serious? You bring everyone down.
Times are serious.
It's a serious chat. With voting is a very serious thing. You shouldn't be taking it for granted.
I'm not, and I don't. But again, I just need to bring some humor in here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
that's what happens when Patriot, Night Strike, and Squib don't bother to show up.
Patriot's here. He's very quiet. He's here.
Blind shooter, I know you're blind, so that's okay. But I am here. Night Strike.
I know you're late.
Well, better late than never.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
How would you know?
All right. Moving on. What have I got so far? So, there was something I was looking at earlier. Where was it? Some magazine or newspaper called The Nation. I've seen this on Bearing Arms this morning. Right? We need to appeal the Second Amendment, do away with it totally. We won't stop people having guns, but it will not be a right anymore. So in other words, they want the government say we can have a gun or not, which is goddamn asinine.
Yeah. Rick, you lived half of your life in another country of which they did away with guns. I have to ask, how safe was it there after they got rid of guns?
Well, guns were still available when I was there. It was very strictly controlled. They totally got away with them after I left. But
you didn't have a right to them there.
No. Oh no, you didn't have a right to them. It was almost. Oh no, it's trying to get
What was it? Almost for the rich, you would say?
Yes. Okay. It was mainly the wealthy had guns.
Okay.
It was the poor person didn't have a gun. Very rare. And if a poor person had a gun, it was one that their grandfather had brought back from the Second World War. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But no, guns. Okay, but then see, over there you don't. It's. I don't know. I'm
Can
trying to
you see
remember.
the screen share I just added in the lobby thing below the StreamYard?
Okay.
That's the legacy of London's gun control.
Yeah.
That's what it turns into. A bumbling idiot moving on to the next tool. That is what we get to look forward to
Absolutely.
if they win.
That's what I was trying to come up with. It is. It's crazy. Even over there, you know, when you thought, let me remove that from there. But when I was growing up as a kid, I never thought about getting into fights or anything, that there would be any firearms involved in any fight that I was in. You know?
What about knives?
Also, yeah, knives were always available, but not like. But
You're right,
also,
Rick.
what I'm saying is also crime. Crime itself. Yes, there was armed robberies, but they were few and far between.
So what you're saying is what we're missing these days is that one phrase that used to scare the hell out of you in school. I'll see you after school.
Yes.
Because now we're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah. That's right. Whereas in England, it was, we'll see you out in the playground or behind the bike shed or whatever.
Exactly.
You get into a good fight and all this good stuff. Yeah. And I remember, I think I told this story a few years ago. I remember getting into a fight in a bar in Windsor. And I mean, it went out into the street. There must have been 30, 40 people fighting and slugging. There was no weapons involved. The police came along, the sirens blaring. They come along and grab people and shove me against the wall and all this kind of. They didn't have weapons either. But today, a lot of police in England carry weapons now. And
the
now,
Bobbies still don't.
No, but they don't have the Bobby like they used to. When I was growing up as a kid, the policemen used to walk the beat.
Right.
Do they still do that today?
They
do. They
do
do that in New York City, blind shooter?
They walk a beat, but like you're kind of indicated on, nowadays they have guns. Back in the day, they just used the billiard club and beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is back in the day, too. I mean, back in the day, if you could, like as a kid, if you got into mischief and the policeman found you, it'd just clip you on the back of the head and say, smack you and say, don't do it again. Now today that policeman would be arrested and fired for cruelty to children or some shit.
So what you're missing is the Royal Irish Constabulary with their shillelaghs. Because right now, what you've got is a bunch of cops rolling around getting laughed at in Vauxhall Astra diesels, getting outrun by kids in freaking little 3-cylinder cars.
Yeah. Hey, here you go.
John, don't call anyone from Northern Ireland Irish because they're British.
Yeah. Here's this is cruel in England because they only drink tea and need knives to spread jam on their crumpets.
Yep, they're not allowed to have knives anymore either. So
Yeah.
Can't even have a butter knife.
Oh, I know. I mean, but the world. I mean, we can go into a long conversation, debate, figure out why the world has got more dangerous today than it was when we were kids. Why?
Because parents don't smack the shit out of their kids anymore.
I think that's got something to do with it.
I blame assholes, but that's just me.
I mean, I brought this up the other day in a local gathering that I host once a month. But yeah, I mean, once upon a time, you could go into a high school parking lot and a kid would walk out to his truck, grab the rifle off the rack, off the back window, bring it into the school, hand it to his principal and go, check out what I just got. The principal would check it out and go, that ain't nothing. Check this out. And he'd pull his out. There were no school shootings back then. I think
No.
what we need is a little more Mayberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that kid would take his rifle back and go put it back and hang it in his gun right back in his truck.
And
Right.
nobody would steal it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, if some kid drove up to school with that hanging in the back, oh man. Do they allow gun racks anymore?
No.
You know,
Oh, well.
'Cause
Not in schools.
I think even if some kid drove up in his pickup truck with an empty gun rack, their goddamn all hell would break loose.
I'll do you one better than that. In my school district, a kid was sent home and suspended for a week because he had tint on his back window of his truck, and it had a cutout of a gun rack in the tint. So if you looked at it from the back of the truck, it looked like there was a gun rack in there, but it was just the way that the tint was cut that it looked like it had a gun rack in there. And the school had him forcibly remove it, and they suspended him for a week for it.
See, that's
Oh, I've got one better. Here in New York, on the weekend, guy and his buddy went to the gun range, filmed themselves shooting at the gun range, posted it to their social media accounts. Their friend saw it, told the teacher, and school district had the kids expelled.
yeah. Well, here you go. Here's a comment from Two Gun Kitty. World is safer overall. Just the media to make noise that it isn't. Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. You're right. I mean, as a kid growing up in England, and even the few times I lived over here when I was a young teenager, 13, 14, and I went to high school, so I don't remember hearing about all the crime that I hear today. Is that because we have 24/7 news cycle now?
Yes.
Yes. Because they repeat the news every half hour or every hour, it gives the viewer the impression that it's happening more often than it actually is.
Yeah. So,
Well, G's talking about spelling bees out there because I think he was a spelling bee champion himself.
yeah. No, if we talked about spelling bees every day, we would think we were the best fucking spellers in the history of time. Because we are kind of.
We kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Then here's another one. If we talked about medical issues as much as we talk about sports, we would solve diseases. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, so what we're saying is the United States is safer today than it was when I was a kid. He said it just doesn't seem like it because I'm living in Indiana, but I know what's going on in California. I know what's going on in New York. When I was a kid, I had to wait to the 6 o'clock news, and they're not going to tell you every little detail of, oh, look, there was there was 5 police shot down in Houston or something. You know, they more talk about world issues or whatever. I don't know.
See, wait a minute though. That's a good point. Because the world is more connected than it used to be, because you're in small town Indiana and you get to see the news of the travesties that are happening in Los Angeles, how come more people aren't watching that going, that would never work down here? Or that would never happen down here? Because you know what happens in your neck of the woods. And yet they're pushing big city problems on small city living. And you know damn well it doesn't happen in your area. Because you don't have the problems that bigger cities have. But they keep telling you that it's a crisis. Why is that?
I don't know. Why is
Because
that?
it gets them the ratings.
I mean, do you
It gets
have an
them-
immigrant problem in Birdseye, Indiana? Or Schnellville? No. No. But it's a crisis. It's a crisis. Don't forget it's a crisis.
It's the Bird's Eye annual picnic this afternoon, by the way.
Deb's going to be there?
How come you didn't go?
Because I'm here.
Well,
Here,
you only
hosting.
got 50 seconds left before you say you got to go.
I'll keep the Saturday one. I keep running a bit longer until we run out of stuff to talk about.
All right.
You know, it's a good
You
topic.
could have gone to the picnic and bring us with you.
You know, There
Yeah,
you
see,
go.
I like the way G puts that. Support Rick, not CNN. Exactly.
That's right. We win by
Right.
having conversations like this. We
Yeah.
win by not doing what they want, but instead share and communicate on our own.
Rick,
Right.
you need to run for mayor of Schnellville, and you need to say, make small towns great again. Make Mayberry great again, and you'll win.
No, make Schnellville great again.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm just saying, if he decides to run for governor of Indiana, he can say, yeah, I think Indiana needs a little more Mayberry. And then when he becomes president, he can say, yeah, I think America needs a little more Mayberry.
That's right.
You know,
There you
I
go.
would vote for Rick if Rick ran for president. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. I'm thinking about doing it. Be honest with you. I think I'll make a good president.
No, because I'd run against him, and I would use a smear campaign like Trump, and I would call him Benedict Arnold because he came from England.
Benedict Arnold. Oh, that's great. That is great.
Anyway, since we're almost at the end or halfway, it all depends. I'm gonna, before people start dropping out. We must upset somebody because I've lost 2 viewers. So the little counter up at the top there. Quiz. Now I got some good news and I got some bad news.
Did I win?
No, not yet. I haven't done the drawing yet. But I had only 6 entries. Only 6 entries.
Shame on y'all.
And unfortunately, it was a 2-part question. And unfortunately, 2 of the entries only answered half the question.
All
So they don't count.
So we've only got 4 entries.
Just remove mine then. Just remove
Feeling
mine.
good. Feeling good. 25% chance to win.
That's right. Because the question was, in the 1979 movie Mad Max, I wanted to know what was the standard issue carry arm of their police force. Right? And that was the Smith & Wesson Model 28. They hardly ever used it in the movie, but that's what they were carrying.
Yeah.
Then I asked Mad Max, when he and Jim Goose inspected the aftermath of the attack, he was carrying a long-barreled sporting version of a Winchester Model 1912.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Shotgun.
that was the correct answers. So, in my random picker, I got my 4 people here, and let me hit the button.
Screen share it.
What? Too
Screen
late.
share it so they don't say it's fixed.
Well, they're going to screen fixed because the winner is the one and only Night Strike.
Ah!
Oh man, not that guy.
Hey, there's 3.
That's why he joined the panel.
3 big patches in here, stickers galore, all kinds of goodies in there. It's all ready to go.
I just wanted to
Hey,
land
Rick.
Yeah.
Rick, save it for the next person.
Oh, what a guy!
Well,
That Night Strike.
Save
is
it for the next person. All right,
ready
Rick.
for the next person.
I probably would have done the same thing if you said I won.
Yeah. So I can
Yeah.
use that for this week's quiz.
Exactly.
All right.
Just throw what you were going to use in this week's quiz in there with it.
Oh,
Make
may
it
not be a super duper package.
Exactly. That's why we're doing it.
Okay. So we're going to add what was there. Plus, then there's another 3 patches, more stickers. Oh, I think there's a chapstick in here. And
What?
I think there's 3 lapel pins in here. There's 3 patches and stickers and all. I've even got Patriot in the Dark sticker.
Oh, throw that in the box. Throw all that in the box.
All that goes in the box. So right?
Better be a gun tube sticker in there.
I don't have a gun tube sticker.
Wow. Well, you don't have a guns tube sticker. Well, Rick, I'm literally giving them away on the Indiegogo campaign.
You know? So that's fine. I mean, you just ain't throwing in. I don't have one to throw in there. I got a gun tube patch.
Throw that in there.
No,
Throw that in there.
That's going to be for my new patch board that I'm going to stick up there.
Rick, I'll send you
another one.
I'll send you another patch. All right.
You know?
I got bunches of gun tube patches. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, all right. The question is, I think this is going to be a tough one. But I could be wrong.
That makes it even better.
In the TV show Yellowstone, in the very first episode, the premiere, season opener,
Pilot.
that's the word I was looking for. The pilot episode of Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
You see John Dutton, played by Kevin Costner, blood running down his face. He walks down past an accident to a horse that's been injured, and he puts the horse down. What was the firearm used? Make and model.
Oh, that's a good one.
So in the TV show Yellowstone, I mean, I don't know, it's on Paramount TV, I believe it is, and on the pilot episode, it's the opening scene. Actually, you see him walking. He's had an accident with his truck and a horse trailer, and a horse is injured, and he puts the horse down. I want to know what was the weapon, make and model. Email me. It's not a write-in. Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com.
You're about to hear his phone go off because I already did that.
Right? And there you go.
There it is.
There it is. Okay. Labor Day is when? The 2nd? Yes.
Observed,
I think so,
right?
Yes, September. Because I don't have a show next Saturday, but I said after Labor Day. So on the 7th of September is my next show. So that's when the winner will be announced for this quiz. But after that, I'll be back on weekly.
Oh.
I told you I was doing it every 2 weeks during the summer months when my numbers are down. So starting the 7th of September, I'll be back on Wednesday, weekly Saturday afternoon chat. So that'll make Patrick happy while he's working.
Give the man a duck and he'll go back to weekly broadcasts.
So that question about the gun from the Yellowstone, you've gotten to the 7th of September to get it to me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. You have to 12 noon Eastern time on the 7th to get it to me. So there we go. Back to the chat. Thanks for doing that, Night Strike. I appreciate it. So whoever wins that package has got that package is going to cost me a fortune to send, but that's you guys are worth it.
If you're able to stuff it all inside that box, that'll just do a flat rate because it's under 70 pounds.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Oh yeah. So there we go. G website says only communists celebrate Labor Day.
No, Americans celebrate Labor Day.
Yeah. So, okay. So you see, Patrick's even giving me the thumbs up on being back every Saturday, see? Because he's working. That's why he wants me back. Gives him something to listen to. All right. Patriot, any input on what we were talking about? Not the prizes, but before then. Voting and the way the country is. Do you think the country's safer today? Or
the whole world is safer.
Problems? What do you think, Patriot?
I think the whole world's safer. So I don't buy into the fear of everything. Like they pushed out that the drug dealer shot the cops in Pittsburgh. That's not national news. That's not world news. I mean, that kind of stuff happens. But right now, you can walk outside. You can walk, depending on where you live, I guess. But we are safer now than we ever have been. You're not worried about having a cattle fall on you or a wagon crush your foot, and they have to kill you because you broke a toe. So I don't believe any of this hype as far as us being so dangerous and stuff. It's nonsense. But that's just me, and I always have a positive outlook. So.
All right. What about your Night Strike?
What was the question?
Where
we at?
About the world being safer or dangerous? Was it? Is it? Or is it because the media? We have a 24.
I think it's probably because we have a 24-hour media now, and I also think it's also because the rest of the world may not be as safe as we are right here in the United States. We're more aware of it now than we were beforehand because of, the internet and, again, the 24-hour news cycle. So
There you go. What about you, blind shooter?
Do I think the country is safer? Yes. Do I think certain parts are? Absolutely not. I mean,
yeah.
shit. It might be safer in Indiana, but definitely ain't safer here in New York. That's for sure.
So you think New York's got worse over the years? Is that what you're saying, blind shooter?
Say again?
New York City's got worse today than it was when you were a kid?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Why?
I mean, just to the. Long story short, they've pretty much decriminalized a lot of shit that once was illegal to do. So you're getting a lot more of the criminals getting away with pretty much whatever they want. And I mean, even though we have like strict gun laws and shit, on a weekly basis, you're looking at about maybe like 5 or 6 people getting shot all over the place. And if they're not getting shot, they're getting stabbed.
well.
All right. Okay, so but that's I mean, back to what Sean.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, have you always lived in Houston?
Most of my life, yes.
Is it worse today than it was when you were younger?
No, the world's much safer in my area because now I'm educated, motivated, and I carry.
All right.
I make my world safer. You can either let the world try to protect you, or you can protect yourself and be proactive and educated.
Yeah, good point. Talking about that, I was down the local Family Dollar buying my cat litter. When was it? Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. I walked in there and I'm at the counter and the assistant manager, can't remember his name now, but he always says hi to me and talks to me bullshits. And I'm standing there paying for my stuff. And he says, "Oh," he said, he said, "all the months you've been coming in here," he said, "I never noticed you carry before." He says, "I see the outline of your, gun through your shirt." And I looked, I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "The only reason you can see my gun today is," I said, this is what I don't very rarely wear this shirt." I said, "because it's too small." I said, "I normally wear big baggy shirts." I said, "That's it." I said, "But I carry all the time." He said, "Yeah." He said, "No problem." He said, I wasn't saying you could." What he said, "I wasn't right." He said, "I just didn't notice that you did." I said, "Yeah." But in Indiana, it doesn't matter anyway if I'm printing, because as long as you got a permit to carry, you can open carry anyway. So, even if the shirt had ridden up over the handle, it would have been legal here in Indiana, which I kind of like, really. That's kind of the way. I mean, you shouldn't have to have a permit anyway. I know that. But since I got one and you're going to do it, I think that's pretty cool. That I'm not going to get in trouble for showing my gun.
Make the push for 50 state constitutional carry for 10 years.
Yes.
Hey,
Right.
Rick, we got a controversy out on the YouTube chat. I have to ask you, do you think a hot dog is a German taco?
A hot dog is a German taco. No,
No, it's not a German taco.
no.
Okay.
But it is a sandwich. Because the other day I went over my. I've got to mention this one. I went squirrel hunting, but the day or 2 days before that, we went over there shooting rifles, sighting them in and everything. And he cooked lunch, and he threw burgers and hot dogs on the grill. Right? He sliced up an onion and a tomato on one paper plate, threw that on the table, threw some more paper plates on the table, and he threw a loaf of white sliced bread. So you take your hot dog, put it in the middle of the bread, put your mustard on it. There you go. It's a sandwich.
The taco.
Rick, got one more for you. Okay.
Hot dogs or tacos?
No,
What?
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Actually, I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. See, they're talking food in the chat, and it starts getting me hungry.
Well,
Beef Wellington.
It's
I'm
getting
already
me hungry too.
I think I'll make BLTs tonight. I think.
One away.
You know.
Oh man, BLT's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think that's what I'm going to have.
Only if you got a really fresh tomato, though.
I picked it this morning.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, by the way, I just read your email, Sean. You are in the you're in the quiz for next week.
Yeah.
Now.
Was that right?
Yep.
I'm selling the answer if anybody wants to know the answer to the quiz.
For Bitcoin.
You know.
For GunTube.
Bacon Bitcoin.
Well, Two Live Moose says he's having a BLT.
Yeah, BLTs are good.
What is a flapjack?
A pancake.
That's what
Pancake.
I want to make sure.
Okay,
It could be a waitress too.
No, don't try and confuse Rick like that. But
Could
no,
be a girl who's wearing the wrong size bra.
If you ever watched or heard about Paul Bunyan, and a lot of loggers used to just call them flapjacks, and that's why those pancakes are called flapjacks, because loggers used to call them that.
Okay.
Deb will call them flapjacks because what she does is she throws a smattering of butter on the griddle and then she just starts pouring batter right on it. And that sounds awesome right now.
Oh, G-Web says it's National Waffle Day.
It is National Waffle Day.
Yeah, well, we're doing a lot of waffling here too, ain't we?
Yeah.
We are.
I thought
It is that too as well. There's a sale going on at some store in Albuquerque. Somebody put in the chat a little while ago. So I can't remember the name of the store, but somebody put it in there. Oh, I gained back some viewers. So there we go. All right, let's get back. Okay, what do we want to talk about now? You guys got anything pressing that you want to talk about? I can come up with more stuff if you want. If anybody else has got anything, I'm listening.
how about Night Strike?
My
promote his
connection
Indiegogo?
is bad.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Do what?
Tell us about your Indiegogo campaign, Night Strike.
Okay. It's not really mine. It's GunTube's Indiegogo campaign. Just to dissociate, Night Strike's awful language with GunTube. But GunTube's running an Indiegogo, and they're trying to get funding for hardware and software and possibly a coder to help GunTube fix a lot of the errors that are going on that we can't resolve ourselves. So that's what we're doing. We have lots of perks and prizes for any donations made to the Indiegogo. So check that out. Threw the link out there already. I'll throw it again just for good measure. But that's what we're doing. We're trying to set up a Google Hangout alternative as well that works a little better than StreamYard because you have the ability to have more people.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I was talking to Blind Shooter about that before the chat started. They sent me an email offering me a lifetime deal of $16 a month for the next clean up. But really, I still only 6 people.
I like StreamYard,
but
again, you have to look at this objectively. Yes, you're able to use StreamYard right now, but what's to prevent them? Because I think they're also in California. What's to prevent them from going and saying, "Oh, we don't like gun people talking about firearms or anything relating to guns on our platform, so we can't use our platform anymore." What's to stop them from saying that?
That is how the system works.
yeah,
I mean, just listening to people having troubles with Patreon and whatnot, it's just a endless cycle of using us to build their platform, to build their base, and then once they're done with you, they cast you aside out of some newfound moral responsibility. So just
of which they don't even really believe in. They're just picking sides.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh.
StreamYard's out of Canada. Even better.
Justano said, "Who is the we in the problems that cannot be resolved?" I don't know.
The people working at GunTube. That's
Yes. There you go. Gun website says StreamYard is out of Canada.
Well, that's even better.
Yep.
I thought it did
That's
sound
why
with
it's
her.
So any of your constitutional rights do not apply because StreamYard's in Canada.
Yeah.
I thought this room smelled like the north end of a southbound moose.
Okay, I'm not causing controversy.
Neither am I. So let's move on.
No, I'm not causing controversy, but I mean, I don't think it's right, and I don't know anything what's going on, so I'm not blaming anybody or anything.
nice, right?
No, but my favorite friend, the Yankee Marshal, his Indiegogo account was closed down.
Yeah.
And they refunded all the money for his FUD patches.
Ooh, it's gonna be a whole nother hour.
Yeah,
You know, I don't know any details. I only heard that part because all I heard was that somebody complained to the person who deals with the company that deals with the money.
Strike.
And they said because he was doing it for guns, it goes against their policy. That's
I think
all I heard.
it's worse than that.
I was hoping for a video or something to tell us
There
what
was.
went on.
There was one yesterday.
There was
It's
one yesterday.
much worse than that. It is someone from the 2A community had him shut down because I guess he saw him as competition. And that is probably the most heinous, asinine thing you can do when we're trying so hard to unify each other. We're going to pick fights over something as stupid as audiences.
Yeah, but the thing is, all the usual suspects that you would think that Yankee is
Are not
enemies
the ones who did it.
are not the ones who did it.
Wow.
It's the ones you rarely hear about. And
Right. But he has legal implications that stem from this, so he can't just spell it out without proving it. So just know that he's got a pretty good idea who did it. It's one of our own, and that person should be just cast aside and forgotten for this because that's garbage. That's absolute garbage.
As much as I moan and groan about the guy, I would never do that to him. Plus, I think that's the one demon quality of Yankee Marshal is his pistol project.
Yeah.
Personally,
That's the most admirable thing he does. Is
that's what that's the word. Yeah, you're a better word than I am.
He puts firearms in those that want self-protection who may not have the means or never even considered having the means, and that is a very admirable thing because it gives us an ally.
Yeah. Well, I said I didn't hear all the. I just heard that, and I went, "Wow!" I was waiting to, for something to be posted by Yankee, but then I found out he's going away for the weekend.
Well, to his credit, he is
next week.
All the refunds were done. He is frantically looking for an alternative to make sure that he can get his patches out to those who wanted to send him the money for it. So this will resolve itself one way or another. It's a crappy thing that happened, but he's going to make good on everything.
Yeah. And what worries me, I mean, I know he's going to make good on it, but I mean, he's in the chat here, but does that hurt gun websites? Because didn't he make the patches?
Well, they're already paid for. He already has them. So all he's going to do now is find a way to collect the money for them, get them out to the people. The donations to gun websites is still going to happen. Like everything will be taken care of. He seems like the kind of guy that if he committed to G-Webs on helping the site, he'll cut the check and take the loss himself and make up the money for it later.
Yeah, I figured he would. Yeah, I think he would too.
I mean, quite honestly, I'm I'm considering sending Yankee an email saying you got a great website right there. Why not just throw up a small store or something or a simple checkout and just sell the patches directly from your website?
Yeah.
Because
I think that might be his best bet.
That would work.
I think that might be his best bet. Gun website says no, they are not paid for.
Oh,
okay. So
I thought he said in his thing yesterday. It was like there is a substantial amount of money that just
Yeah, well, I mean, I just that's what I'm saying. But as you said though, I reckon if they got to be paid for, he'll write a personal check for it.
Yeah, because there's a saying: "Don't write checks your body can't cash," and he's very. He'll give it up. So
if somebody says, is it on somebody's Rick's? Was it somebody on Rick's panel?
No, it wasn't anybody on Rick's panel.
Midnight Range said, "I'll say this: it didn't say it wasn't Rick."
Benedict Arnold strikes again.
Benedict Arnold
dun, dun,
strikes
dun.
again.
Yeah, I see that, Sean. Benedict Arnold strikes again.
Yeah, but again, I'm just gonna say this right now because I'm gonna out Sean. Because watch out, this coming from a McCoy.
Hey, I've been trying to host live lobbies in short bursts here and there to try to get a layout working. And I'd just like to say that in any of my videos, you will never see a Patreon link. So I'm not in this for the money.
Yeah.
But if Fioki wants to send me ammo, that's cool.
Actually, I got an email the other day from Cedar Mill Firearms. About them being part of EventLink now and whatnot, and I'm like, that's great, but I don't do any affiliates on Night Strike. So I think it was one of their mass emails or something.
Nope, I only work for my local FFL and ammo.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question for you. I was called. I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm an idiot. I think it was yesterday in a chat. And then that person went to do a phone call, never came back, so I just left.
I know where this is going.
All right.
Let's do this.
There was in Florida, the commissioner for the Florida Agriculture Commissioner. She's in charge of the state's concealed carry program. It falls under that department. Right? She has a concealed carry permit for Florida. She also holds a medical marijuana card from the state of Florida, which means she's violating federal law. Because
only in Florida.
Yeah, go on.
Well, only in Florida we able to get away with that.
Okay, so I know where you're going with this, and I gave this a lot of thought, and this is how I'm looking at this. We talked about states' rights, and that how some states have legalized medicinal or recreational marijuana use. And I may have, in an argument with you, said that state rights trump federal law. And in your defense, you said federal law will overrule the state if they come after you, which I cannot disagree with you on. And then where I turned around and said, well, if I'm in a state that allows legal marijuana use, and I see the form on a 4473 saying, have I ever been under the influence of a controlled substance? If I were to answer no on that form, I would not be breaking the law in my state. So here's where this gets complicated. If federal government wanted to come after you for a weed charge, right? Chances are you weren't on their radar because you had weed. You were on their radar for something far worse. So they're not coming to your house and kicking down your door and killing your Yorkies because Yorkies are the best tiny dogs, because of weed. They came to your house because you were a coyote that was importing illegals across the border, or you were smuggling drugs across state lines, or you weren't paying your taxes or whatever. The only time the federal government's going to hit you for a weed charge is to build up a case against you to add more charges to put you in jail longer. So if I was in Colorado and I looked at a 4473 and it says, have you ever been arrested or convicted of use of an illegal substance or a controlled substance? I would put no, because in the state of Colorado, it's no longer a controlled substance. Now, being arrested for DUI or whatever because you're on that controlled substance, that's a whole different issue. That's a legal civil issue with your local state departments or whatever. But there's going to be a case, there's going to be a fight, an argument, a legal battle or whatever, where that's going to have to be defined. So I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm not saying that you're 100% right either, because there's too much gray area now because of this. States will allow you to have it, and the feds say you can't have it. So who's right? I'm in a state that says it's cool, so it's not a controlled substance in the eyes of my local law. So I would put no on my form, because I don't have to answer to you. My local PD won't arrest me for it, so why are you coming to my door unless I did something else to bring you there?
4473 is a federal form.
Right, but what I'm saying is they're not coming to bust you just for weed. You don't get the eyes of federal agents on you unless you've done something else, and they just tack that on extra to pad their charges against you.
Or you said something to piss them off.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, are we saying that everyone in Colorado is now breaking the
apparently,
law?
G. Webbs is saying Connery is wrong on at least 3 levels, so 100% wrong.
He can
Sure.
join-
Okay. So, okay.
once.
Okay. Let me ask G, how many people in the state of Colorado have had their houses raided and all their firearms taken, and they were all arrested because they were using like recreational marijuana? I guarantee you that number is 0. 0. Now, if they were busted for something else and they added the weed charge on top of it, I'll give you that. But I guarantee you the ATF didn't kick down someone's door in Colorado because he had weed. Guaranteed.
Oh, there you go. I said G. Webbs can join the chat if he wants. I can, what's his email? I'll send him a link.
Here, I'll put it
Or
inside
you
chat.
can send him a link if you want. Yeah. So we've still got room for one more person.
2.
No, Patriot in the Dark's coming back.
All right.
His device is not connected. So I don't know what.
There it is.
He's having internet connections issues.
Side chat, Rick.
Side
Well,
chat.
yeah. Yeah, that one for sure.
That's his email.
Okay.
It's
All right. So hit the invite, copy the clipboard.
I mean, just looking at the YouTube side chat about what the definition of a controlled substance is. That's the thing, right? So, like, if the states don't see it as a controlled substance and the feds do, are the feds coming to your house just for weed? No. They're coming for you for straw purchases or something else, and they're going to add that to pad your sentence. That's the only thing I'm saying. I'm saying they're not coming at you just because you smoked a joint. No way. No way. They don't have the time. Just like red flag laws, they don't have the time, energy, resources, or finances to go after everybody who smoked a joint. It's virtually impossible. And if the feds want to come raid my house, just don't shoot my dogs, because you're not going to find even a seed in my house. Let me just make that ultimately clear.
just don't shoot his dog, otherwise all
Just
bets
don't
are
shoot
off.
my dogs, because one of them might be pregnant.
Yeah. So you reading the chat there, Sean?
Yes.
Okay. I sent you a link, G Webbs, if you wanted to come in and join in on this conversation.
I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying that there's so much gray area in this whole states versus federal that I think that if they came at you for something, it's because there are other charges much worse than I smoked a joint. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else got any input on this? I think it's wrong. I think if you cannot have America, you cannot have both. I think it's wrong. Personally, the question shouldn't even be on the form to start with.
Right.
On the form, I feel you have to answer it truthfully. But then again, I'm a hypocrite because on a second note is under federal law, I can't carry my concealed carry weapon into the post office, but I walk into the post office.
Hypothetically.
I thought you were going to go on a different tangent because you technically are on a narcotic as a pain remedy, whereas marijuana is not technically a drug by definition.
Whatever it is I want.
Yeah,
just because a doctor writes it, just because a doctor says yours is okay, yours is actually a narcotic that is easily addictive, whereas marijuana is just something somebody will try and just be like, that's not for me. Like,
yeah, but his is prescribed, and you have to get it.
Right, I'm just saying. What we're saying is that a doctor can dictate law now.
That marijuana card was prescribed to her.
Exactly.
But what is the actual question on the 4473?
Well, let's look it up since we're here.
Load up.
Shit. Look up 4473.
Question 11E on the 4473.
4473. Here we go.
I'm just going to go on record saying shall not be infringed.
I like that one. Yeah. I like that one too, but unfortunately that doesn't work for everyone. So,
it worked for everyone in here, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah, I know.
Ask, are you a user of an illegal substance?
Right.
Yes. An unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance.
Problem is marijuana is not addictive. It's not like cocaine.
And if they're talking,
and it
your
says,
body
warning,
does not go through weed withdrawal.
The use or possession of marijuana remains unlawful under federal law, regardless of whether it has been legalized or decriminalized for medicinal or recreational purposes in the state where you reside. Okay, that's
overreach.
That's the words, word for word.
Overreach. But you know what? That's like red flag laws. It ain't going to be enforced. Not as it should be. That's the whole problem with this whole thing. They make these rules to scare people to not do things, and they're never going to do it right. So why do we have them?
Because it makes it appear as if someone's doing something. That's why.
Exactly.
It's the illusion of someone's doing something, so we're good. We don't need it. And
it's an illusion to that guy in Maryland.
Yeah, it's not an illusion to that guy in Maryland, but again, that's why they do that and they push all that. It's basically a smoke and mirrors game.
Okay. What does Blue Steel say here? I can drink 2 beers, be depressed, seek treatment, and if they list ETOH dependence on your diagnosis because you drank while depressed and you voluntarily sought treatment, you are not legal.
Exactly.
If they want to red flag you for mental disorders, you can be a goddamn insomniac. Insomnia is considered a mental disorder. That's how asinine this is. American Psychological Association, insomnia, mental disorder.
Yeah, I know, it's a strange... Really, I think that question should be taken off the 4473, to be quite honest with you.
Leave it to the locals to handle local bullshit.
Yeah.
Dano's bringing up a point saying narcotic drug answers the question on prescribed opioids or narcotic drugs. Well, it does and it doesn't because, again, remember at the beginning, are you an unlawful user? that means did you get it? Did you get the substance, regardless
Then
of what
technically
it is?
that woman in
illegally?
Florida was not an unlawful user. She had a legal prescription written by a doctor. And the
Okay.
problem with this whole thing is we're getting into a dangerous precedent where we're basically turning doctors into justices. Because if you think
true.
about it, a doctor can prescribe to you a narcotic, an opioid, that you can easily get addicted to, and it's perfectly fine because he wrote a prescription, right?
Yeah.
But another doctor, a psychiatrist, something that I am intimately in the know with, can be easily bought off and write you off and get all your property seized under red flag laws. We cannot weaponize doctors. It's just that simple. We can't turn them into Judge Dreads. But that's exactly where we're headed.
Here you go. Two live moo. I've been married for 27 years. Does that count as mental disorder?
Depends on how many kids you had.
Ooh, low.
Oh, Jess Dano said pot was the original just do something example of the government pleasing the masses with no effect.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. What's it say? The 44 midnight range. The 4473 is a federal form asking you if you use the substance that a state can say is okay while the feds say it isn't. It shouldn't even be on the form. It should.
I would agree with you.
Remember what it says at the beginning. Are you an unlawful user? So,
I would agree
Rick,
with you.
In your case, you are prescribed medication.
Oh.
Okay, that's lawful. You get it lawfully because you go to the pharmacy and you get it over the counter with your insurance.
Okay.
Okay.
Now the marijuana medical card, right?
That's practically a prescription, isn't it?
It is. But again, because it's still illegal federally, even if it's legal in your state, it crosses the line of legal and illegal.
And welcome to the gray area we're talking about.
Here's the gray area. It may be legal in your state, but it's still illegal federally, so you are still an unlawful user.
So who do you obey?
You're a federal unlawful user.
An opiate or a narcotic is still federally illegal.
So who do you obey? Because if someone's kicking down your door and you didn't have a firearm to protect yourself from a home invasion, do you say, oh, well, I guess I'm going to die because the feds say I couldn't have a gun? No. Who are you going to call when someone's kicking down your door and you need help? Are you going to call the feds to come save you? No. So why do we give a shit what they say?
Yeah.
I'm just pointing it out, okay, Sean?
No, I get it. I'm just saying. I'm just illustrating that this is a gray area argument that has to be fought, and I think that we're on the right side of this.
I think we need to get our congressmen and stuff to have the 4473 rewritten or that part of it taken out. It doesn't need to be there.
Right. I mean, it could say, have you ever been convicted of unlawful use of controlled substances? But then again, if you were, would you answer it honestly? No. But when they do the background check, they'll find out you lied. So
Dano's saying Illinois cross-references the medical pot database in that state and the FOID database and remove people that have guns from the FOID database.
I saw Wheelchair Warrior's question just now, and the answer to that is no, because you got the William Jefferson Clinton clause of no, because I didn't inhale.
Yeah, that doesn't count. It only counts for presidential presidents, sitting and former.
I like G's idea way better.
What?
Yeah, you know that G has a good point there.
I am 100% G's idea.
There we go. I like that one. Let's
remove it altogether.
Get rid of it.
Yeah,
let's get rid of it. Yeah.
Imagine if you had a form, right, where you just put your name, your address, your telephone number, maybe your email address, and your social security number. They run it, and if you're not a felon, they're just like, here's your gun, have a nice day.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it should be.
That should be nice and simple, right?
Yeah.
No felons, you're not a felon, whatever, have a nice day.
Yeah. Yeah. it doesn't need to be there. It's an infringement. If somebody, unfortunately,
Right.
he's
It
left
shall
with
not be
the fact that-
infringed.
The fact that you have a social security number gets rid of half the questions on the damn form.
That's right.
And that also brings up a point where, I know some people in the chats, you say, I never put my social security number on my 4473. I never given the government my social security number, when the fact is the government already has it. They're the ones who issued you the damn thing in the first place.
Exactly.
You don't think they don't have it already? They do, by the way.
And the other thing is I have to put it on there because on my form, when I fill it out, it says name the city you were born in if you were born in the United States. And guess what I have to do? I have to leave that blank. Then it says name the country you were born in. Then I have to put South Korea. So obviously I have to put my social security number in there because I was born abroad on a military base.
Well, same here.
Well, technically, a military base is still military soil.
Yeah,
Right, but they tell me, they make me redo the form if I put the city in there. So I have to take that off. I have to put the country.
United States soil. It's still United States soil.
That's
even
true.
though it's a military base.
That's true, but
So-
the thing is I've had to redo forms in my younger years because I put Seoul and then I had to put South Korea in the country, and they said, "Sorry, you can't do that. You have to take it off."
What I normally do, I'm trying to remember if I did it on the last 4473. I put ask where you're born. I put England.
In the country,
Yes.
but you didn't put the city.
No. Isn't there anywhere on there ask for that?
Yeah, it's the box just next to the country.
I normally what I do is I was actually born on a military base, and I actually write the name of it down. I put USAF South Riceland.
They take it. That's cool.
That's what I normally put down. Because as Matt Strike's right, you're on American soil on an American federal on a American
On a military base or installation.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
still technically United States soil. Yeah, it may not be inside the United States, but it's still technically, an embassy, a military base, or a military installation is still technically United States soil.
That's right. That's right. So that's what I normally do. Is I normally state on the form somewhere the name of the base I was born on. Of course, I put my social security number down there. The government has all this. I worked for Uncle Sam for 20 years.
Yeah, so they've got your number and then some.
They
If they want it.
got my numbers. They got my fingerprints. They got it all.
They got all mine too now. So we're good.
And if anybody wants to, I could give my social security number out right now. Anybody could take it all they want. You might be doing me a favor. Because you use my social security number, you can get all my debt sent to your house. No, actually, I'm not as bad as I was. I'm working on it slowly, but it's taken me years to pay off my debt from my drinking days. It really has. So
remember, even your driver's license is tied to your social security number.
everything's tied to your social security number. That's why they ask you for it all the time.
Yeah. So
It's your identity.
the government's got it in a database. So does it matter whether you're giving it to the government on a form or not?
Yeah.
I think it's because the guy that's working in the counter can see it. I think.
Well,
that's
here
the
you go.
biggest
Here's a good one.
I don't
When I was a kid growing up, you didn't have to have social security cards until you got, 13 or something like that? Can't remember what the age was. You didn't need one before a certain age. But then the law changed. Everybody's got to have one as soon as they're born. Right? So I was living overseas at the time. I can't remember what country we were in at the time. And my oldest brother, me, and my sister got ours all at the same time. And it's only one digit different between all three of us. Right? And back in those days, I don't know what number they're using now, but back in the day, my social security number starts with 560, and that's California.
California.
So they back in Europe, I think we were in a European country at the time when this was done. All social security numbers for the military were issued out of California. I think we were in Europe, or we were in the Philippines. No, we weren't in the Philippines. Had to be in Europe. So just a bit of trivia for you there. If it was issued to you while you're overseas, it came out of California. I don't know if it still does or not, but so there you go. Just some trivia for everybody. Everybody still there, or have I lost my internet?
No, we're still here. We're still here. We're just quiet.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's coming up close to 5 o'clock. Now I am getting hungry. You know,
That's a slippery slope, Rick.
yes. Plus, 5 o'clock is when I feed the cats too, and they're starting to circle.
Uh-oh. Watch out.
I had to go. I went to the foot doctor the other day because I have to have my feet checked every 3 months, you know, because of being diabetic and stuff and having a bad back. I can't get down to my feet that well. So while I'm there, I have them do my toenails as well. So it's great having somebody else cut your toenails. It's really, you know, but they're there. They check the bottom of my feet and everything else for, you know, my diabetes and stuff. But I'm doing there, and the doctor's doing his thing, and he's looking at me. He says, "Dave, you got a lot of scratches on your legs. What's happening?" I said, "Oh, that's my cats." He goes, "Is it?" I said, "Oh, yeah." I said, he said, "Why do they scratch you?" I said, "Because I fight them like they're dogs." But I keep forgetting they got claws, you know? Anyway, I thought it was funny, but so,
Yeah.
there we go. All right.
2 hours. Nice.
Yeah, we've gone for almost 2 hours. So, been a while since we've been able to do that, and we've done it without Tony. So, we had a good topic today.
Just thinking that.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done it without Squib. You know? So, there we go. All right. You guys got any shout outs? Let's start with you, Sean.
I am in the process of trying to give you all a live lobby chat. It is slightly different than what you're seeing right now. Some of you already know how it works. Others, the how-to is in the top right corner of what you will see. If you ever see me list a live lobby chat on the main page of Gun Channels, it is in its beta stages, but it is also unlimited. I can have 500 users if I wanted. It would be noisy, but anyway, it's free to use. Just keep an eye out for it. And I also host something called the Penny Arcade, which I play just 8-bit games and try to talk about integrating your childhood with how you came into guns.
Okay. And once you got it up and running and figured out, the link will be on Gun Channels, right?
Yeah, always on the main page.
Okay. All right. Patriot, any shout outs or plugs?
Oh boy, I don't know. I'm doing a bunch of that wood box stuff, and I'm I don't know, doing some reviews and gonna give away a bunch of stuff. And if anybody wants a rifle scope bore sight kit, go over to my channel and put it in. Actually, there has been an issue. Yeah, well, there's an issue because I'm trying to search out that hashtag that I told everybody to put in, and it won't come up. It comes up for my main video, but it doesn't search comments anymore. So I got to figure out why that's not working. You know, if you put it in the comments, you know, hashtag PITD. I'm not saying that. No, I you know me, I give everything away.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, so that should be coming up next week, I guess. Maybe we'll do it on Wednesday show or something. But that, and then I'm doing some woodworking, you know, small tips, whatever, you know, saws and different things. Being a blind guy, so that should be fun.
Oh yeah, that should be. I like your last one on the Liberty box. So
yeah, I've still got, I don't know, 2 more parts to that, you know, doing hinges and rope handles and
whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been watching. I've been keeping up. So, you know. All right.
All right. Yeah, check it out.
All right, we will do. Oh, before we get on to Night Strikes closing, the Gun website says my medical pedicure sounds so relaxing. It was. But it got scary there for a second because, and I didn't realize this, because I don't have total feeling in the bottom of my feet anymore. It has to do with diabetes and stuff. Is she pulls out like a Dremel, and she starts going back and forth on my heels of my feet. I said, "What in the hell are you doing?" She says, "Well, you got calluses back there on the back of your heels." So she's so like with a sander on the end of a Dremel, and she's sanding off.
Oh, she's chiseling off the barnacles.
Yeah, it felt quite good actually, but
Oh.
I thought, wow, So I don't know if everybody needs to know that, but it just something that,
Rick has well feet.
yeah. All right, nice.
Wasn't that in the movie where the lady was using an angle grinder in the toenails?
I'm going to do a shout out
think
for
that was on the
Swiblift. Just put it on the credit card.
Okay. And don't forget, everybody go over to GunTube and support the Indiegogo. So there we go.
And
Okay. Oh, yeah. And the Amazon forest is on fire, and it's Trump's fault. It's not
Right.
Raphael's.
Right. It's not right. Raphael's not from the Amazon, so it's not his fault in the first place. But yeah. Something happens in the world, and he's not even there, but it's totally Trump's fault. Yeah. Right.
That's right. All right, guys. I'm getting hungry now. I said that the cats are sitting right down here on the floor right next to me, looking at me with those big cat eyes.
I have
saying,
one last thing for your audience. I want to teach your audience something that would be very useful to them.
What?
If anyone from the left who is fascinated with Russian collusion tries to step on your gun rights, you look them right in the eye and you say, "Ostav ito v poyoke."
All right.
And that means leave it alone. Actually, sorry, it's "Ostav ito v pokoje." You look them right in the eye and you trigger them with that.
All right. So I want to say so long. I want to say thank you, everybody. I'll be back on Wednesday at 7 p.m. with Shooting with Disabilities. If you got any questions you want to ask the panel for that show or for this show, email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Or if you've got a question you want me to use in the quiz, you can send that to me as well, and I'll use it. But you won't be able to enter that week. But so there you go. But the Saturday show, I will be back on the 7th, and we got that super duper heavy duty prize pack. I will give the question out again on Wednesday for you guys. So there you go. I will see you all then. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yorkies make the best tiny dogs.
Add Tovarish to the end of Sean's Russian thing.